I'm at 3441 McFadden Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues. Root intrusion is probably common in the area with the materials, and bellies, stuff like that, low spots, just anything that would be of concern to the buyer. The access point, we have two right next to each other. We have one looks like a 4-inch, and then we have another 3-inch. The 3-inch is where we're going to go because it's a little bit further back, but if we need to, I will move over and we'll get access from the 4-inch. That's just, they're both kind of straddling the base of the steps here to come down from the first floor into the basement. As you can see, there is the 4-inch over there. We're going into this 3-inch here. And here is the stationary tub. So where we're at, the steps. A little bit of packing in here. That's the problem with this. Is the sink line, I'm sure. The sink lines are usually the nastiest, so I probably shouldn't have picked this one. Sink lines usually have a lot more debris than any other line in the house due to food and stuff that gets flushed down the line, and not just the food, but mostly all the other grease and stuff that gets down in there, and they just from washing dishes and normal stuff, so it tends to build up. It's usually the nastiest line in the house. So if I need to, we'll push out until I can see. I'm running some water in the stationary tub. I'm gonna have to, there's the valve on the other side. It's affecting that, so I have got a little bit of water in there to rinse that camera off, so we're in good shape. I'm gonna let that kind of run down a little bit though. Just make sure we clean the lens off as we push out. So the good news is, as soon as this is cast iron above the floor, it looks like as soon as we get down through the floor, it switches over to clay. Well, I don't know. It does look like it is cast iron at the base, but pretty quickly it did switch over. That's what we're looking for. Clay is a lot better material. Yeah, it goes to clay as soon as we get in the bottom. But clay is a lot better material as far as longevity. Cast iron obviously can't rust, so something like this was probably built in the 20s or earlier. We put clay under the ground, which is, like I said, a lot better. A little bit of buildup here. I believe it's a bunch of food stuff, and it looks like there's a bit of intrusion there. Maybe a little bit of root intrusion there. About 15 feet. Let's see if we can take a better look at that when we pull back. If I need to, I can put a standoff on the camera to take a better look at this. So kind of zigzagging through the line here. Looks like we may be finally heading out towards the street. Spider webs up there. I haven't looked. I don't know whether these are going out to the front or the back. Most of the time they go out to the front, but some of these neighborhoods over here, they do go out the back. There's a main on the property line behind the house. Again, as we push out, sometimes it makes it harder to see because the line will kind of push. As they're pushing the camera, there's things that will kind of build up in front of the lens, kind of like a plow. So sometimes it obscures the view, and that's where you can see a couple little smudges there on the camera. But usually what we can do is we can get all the way out to the main, and then we'll be able to see, here you go, a lot clearer on the way back because you don't have that same issue. A little bit of water there, that's not a concern. The camera lens is only about a half an inch off the bottom of the pipe, so not a whole lot of height in a 6-inch pipe, so that little bit of water is nothing abnormal. So far the line looks really good. I was expecting to find at least some root intrusion, and the only thing we found there was maybe back at like 15 feet. We'll hope to get a little bit better look at that because wasn't sure if that was root intrusion or just a spot where the line dropped in and just some of the stuff hanging from the top of that connection. So here we are all the way out at the main. And so based off of the footage and everything, I believe we're out front. That would be the most common, like I mentioned. But the line looked great structurally. There was only that one little spot at about 15 feet that had a little bit of buildup of materials, but it was nothing of any major concern. I would like to try to run some water when I get back to that point and see if we can flush that spot out. See what, if it's just food, which it most likely is, and if this, that's one thing you want to make sure of as they put garbage disposals in and stuff, and all that usually does is cause people to put stuff down their kitchen sinks that they shouldn't. So a lot of times that'll cause things like that, build up food and stuff in certain areas at the base of the kitchen line. But the clay looks beautiful. All the connections are nice and tight. There's, like I mentioned earlier, there's no root intrusion. That is the most common thing we see with old clay lines. This is looking beautiful. Spider webs there. You can see that pipe tie in there on the left. So we are back into the house. Those are probably right before it exits. Some of the downspouts and stuff, because those would be tied in this area. It was right around 15 feet or so that we had that spot where there was a little bit of buildup of, I mentioned it looked like kind of food stuff, like kitchen buildup. And so when I get to that point, I'm going to try to run some water down here and we'll see if we can rinse some of that out right in through here. See, it doesn't look like it's causing any big backup or anything. It's just a buildup of material. You can So you can see right there on the top, it's just a reflection. I thought maybe that was something. That's just score marks, but you have something. So right here, 14 to 15 feet, there's just a little buildup of soft material. And so there's some water coming from behind us. I don't know if maybe my camera just moved some stuff out of the way. But yeah, I think that's all just, this could be from floor drain stuff too. A lot of times the stuff, in this case, it probably would be from the rear, right outside the back. There's a floor drain because it has a below grade driveway or below grade garage. And so I do want to run some water through here. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to push forward to that spot where we saw the largest buildup. And this is not a major concern. I don't want to make you think it is. It's just something that it's, like I said, it's a buildup of food stuff that happens a lot on kitchen lines. So again, I'm going to pause the video here, run some water, and see if we can flush this line out just a little bit. Alright, we're going to run the water for a minute. I'm just going to try to move some of this stuff out of the way here. See how much of it moved. Yeah, it just looks like food. And usually this happens because you don't have a big rush of water coming through here. You should have laundry, but that's going to come through about the same speed as the sink because it's going to be choked down coming through the. But it doesn't look like anything's. Yeah, there's no resistance at all. There's just some food stuff. So all I have to say, don't put a ton of stuff down the kitchen sink. Even if you have a garbage disposal, it's not a Vegematic. You should not be, chopping up full vegetables and stuff and shoving them down the sink because it will build up. So, but the line looks good. The only thing you have is, like I said, a little bit of that food stuff right there, about 15 feet. But the line's open and flowing. There's no defects at all. It's just that area is behind where any toilets come through, so you don't have a big rush that'll push that stuff out on a regular basis. There should be actually maybe a floor drain or something, and maybe that would flush it out, or not a floor drain, but a downspout may come in behind this, but I'm not 100% sure of the configuration. But the line looked great. I didn't find any major issues in the main line. Just had a little bit of buildup that would clear with should clear with some pretty heavy normal use. But the clay looked wonderful. No offset joints. All of them looked real tight. No root intrusion. So it looked beautiful. So that'll end the inspection at 3441 McFadden Avenue.